How's it going, everyone? Welcome back. Hope everyone's having a lovely weekend. We are less than a week out from the 2025 NFL Draft. Bengals picking 17th, starting to really hone in on who the Bengals should be selecting with this first overall pick. But if you had to choose one, and I mean only one, player for the Bengals to select for this pick, obviously trying to be realistic here, Abdul Carter won't be falling to the Bengals. Unless he wants to post some crazy pics on the internet. He's got time. Think about it. It's not a far drive from where he was playing that college ball. A little bit of a distance, but not bad. If you want to, I know what kind of crazy thing you want to do. Just draw it up. Be creative, Abdul. Anyway, besides that happening, we're looking at this draft and saying, hey, if the Bengals could take one, we're seeing a lot of names coming out there. Kelvin Banks, Jihaad Campbell, Walter Nolen, Michael Williams. Good players. James Pierce. James Pierce was a guy that's kind of slipping down the boards now, actually, a little bit. People worried about the character. I was always worried a little bit about needing to see him be a little bit more effective in the big games. Need to see the fact that I can't get Chase Young out of my mind, where he worries me too much about him just being a predominant speed rusher on the edge. That's always worried me as well. But, I can see why the Bengals and some fans would probably want to go after him. And maybe, I could be completely wrong and he transitions well to the NFL. For me, I don't know if I'm ready for that sort of grab here, as much as I would love for the Bengals to go defensive end. Beautiful pick. I want the Bengals to go trenches regardless. Anywhere else, actually, linebacker, not terrible. Jihaad Campbell could be a huge addition, a huge upgrade to this linebacking corps. You now all of a sudden can start talking about how one of the best linebacking corpses in the league. The thing is, again, for me, I love the addition. I wouldn't be upset if the Bengals took him. I'm just so, at this point in time, so entrenched on figuring out and fixing these trenches, dominating the trenches. If there's one thing we're learning, if we haven't learned already, if we didn't already know, is how important winning in the trenches is when it comes to these Super Bowl teams. I think we can see how important a linebacker position is to these Super Bowl winning teams. Because one of the guys that played outstanding, even though it was a backup for the Eagles, started during the playoffs, is on the Bengals now. Let him walk happily, right? Kind of gives you an idea. You can only keep so many guys, and if you want to keep some guys, you want to keep them trenches guys. And I'm looking at, I see people like Kelvin Banks. The reason I'm not a big Kelvin Banks guy is because if we're picking somebody in the first round, we got to quit with these chances. We got to quit with these projects. Kelvin Banks is a tackle. Could he play guard? Sure. Do they think he could transition well? Sure. Do we know that? No. Passing on it. How about Mike Green? I love me some Mike Green. I just don't think he falls. Donovan Ezeraku? Oh, yeah. I would like this man just because of the name. Imagine getting to say that guy's name, Ezeraku, with the sack every single week, night in and night out. This is a guy that has shown he can pressure that quarterback. And again, good run stopper, good at pressuring quarterback. I think the big concern here is a lot of people think he fits better in a 3-4 because of his size. Worry about the size, a little bit shorter. It's weird because you watch him and it feels like he's playing larger than what he is, but the size is probably a big part of why he's sliding people. A lot of people saying, hey, dude, day 2 draft pick, do you want the Bengals to reach for that? Again, I wouldn't be upset with him. I'm be honest, I would not be upset with him. But I think just because of how important the edge rush position is. But I think where I'm looking at this point in the draft is no further than Walter Nolen, the defensive tackle out of Ole Miss. Can get to the quarterback, can push that defense or offensive front into the quarterback, can stop the run. And I think there's one thing we're learning ever so much in the NFL with the Eagles, with the Chiefs, is having that disruptor up the middle. I mean, we learned it with Geno Atkins. Having that disruptor up the middle is so game-changing, especially with a guy that wants to run a complicated scheme like Al Golden does. He wants to bring the pressure like Al Golden does. Because when you have that guy taking on 2 defender or 2 offensive linemen every single player, you have that guy pressuring the, getting into that quarterback's face, pushing that offensive line back. It opens up, one thing we don't talk about a lot is it really does open up those lanes for those edge rushers to close the gap. It opens up those lanes for, if he wants to draw up those double A gap blitzes with the linebackers. When I think that's one of the things kind of gets untalked about a lot, which worked really well for the Bengals back in, again, the Geno Atkins days. It worked so well, those double A gap blitzes, because you had to put 2 guys on Geno, and if you did it, he was getting beat. And now you bring those guys, up the middle, both sides of him. Good freaking luck, right? And you think about that's what a dominant defensive tackle brings to the table. And this just, it feels like a very good, back in the day, it's crazy because the defensive tackle kind of looks or went overlooked there for a little while. It's like a lot of times you can get really good ones, 2nd round, 3rd round, kind of slide in the draft. That's definitely been something that's kind of shifted in the NFL draft over years, at least in the years of late, and understandably so. So to see Nolen fall to the Bengals, you got to take him. He's right around, in a lot of projections, right around that 13 to 21-ish range of being selected. And this is one of those cases where I was just thinking about the Eagles. The Eagles traded up in a draft. Granted, small positions in some cases. They traded up to get Cooper DeJean. They traded up to get Jalen Carter. They traded up to get their guys. They didn't wait for the best possible available at their position. They traded up to get their guys. And if that's what the Bengals got to do, they got to work those phones to get their guy. And maybe Nolen's not their guy, but you look at somebody on their board and they feel like it is a slam dunk when you are confident. Giving up a little bit extra, probably worth it. Would you rather have that slam dunk Pro Bowler that you believe in more than anything, or just say, well, if he falls off the board, just go next best possible available. Maybe he's a plus player, not a Pro Bowler. It's like, well, I might have taken that Pro Bowler, might have taken an elite game changer if it was just going to cost a 3rd and a 6th at that point in time, because of just how much of an impact they can make on the team. Nonetheless, that's where we're sitting right now. Anyway, if y'all enjoyed the video, I'd appreciate you liking, subscribing. You never have to. Thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.